So hi everyone, thank you so much for joining us today for our webinar with Lisa Larson. We are so excited to have you all here, to have Lisa here. Thank you so much for giving us your time and your expertise on this. I'm going to get started with some RMBI announcements and then we'll jump right in. So as always, we have our monthly webinar series on a Friday, and they're free for our members, but $25 for non-members. We always record them, so if you're unable to join live, you can catch the recording after. And we do offer 1.5 hours of CEs for these webinars. So I'm going to put the link in the chat as soon as I finish this, but if you haven't purchased them already for today, please do so in the next 15 or so minutes, and I'll be taking attendance. If you paid to attend today, but instead would like to apply that $25 to your membership rate, which our membership rate is $75 for the year, I'm really happy to give you a $25 discount. So just feel free to send me a message or an email and we can get that going for you. In case you don't know, RMBI members get access to the webinar recordings from all 29 of our past webinars, as well as attendance into any upcoming webinar that we have. And we also offer $50 discounts for Brainspotting trainings or specialty workshops with 19 different presenters, one of them being Lisa Larson. And announcement that we have is this also applies for David's Phase 4 that RMBI is going to be co-sponsoring this summer in July. So if you're interested in that, please reach out. We are also really excited to announce that we are co-sponsoring Ruth Childs' Free to Perform Brainspotting Specialty Program, which is a deep dive into brainspotting work in performance. So it's a 62-hour program, small cohort. It's limited at 20 and it's a little over halfway full right now. But RMBI members get $200 off of that. So that begins October 9th. I'll also put that information in the chat. And in case you haven't seen our previous announcements, we have extended access yet again to the 2021 International Conference recordings. So if you paid to attend the conference, you know you have complimentary access. So that just means you get one extra year. And if you have since purchased access or are still interested in doing so, know that you can watch the recordings until July 2026. So I think it's like the price of a specialty workshop, but you get 126 hours worth of content from brain spotters all over the world, also including Lisa Larson. So great way to learn about a lot of different brain spotting topics all at once. And as always, there are so many different ways to connect with us for free, our Facebook, our monthly newsletter, and you can always reach out to me via email for any referral support or resources. So let's see, without further ado, I'd like to turn it over to one of our new board members, Melanie Twite, who's going to be introducing Lisa, and we'll get started today.
Hi, Lisa. I'm
Hey,
so excited to
Melanie.
get to introduce you.
I know, I'm so
Um,
glad. I didn't know you were on the board. Hi.
it's new, yeah. Just this month. So it's
Yeah,
I'm excited to be on the board and
me
be a
too.
part of the
Yeah.
RMBI. So and of course because okay. So introduce Lisa. Lisa is a marriage and family therapist. She's been practicing for 25 years. Um, Yeah, she faced a life-changing trauma when she and her son both experienced near-death allergic reactions, and traditional therapy failed to address her PTSD from the events. But EMDR provided swift relief, and then driven by her recovery, she trained in EMDR and brain spotting with Dr. David Grand in 2012. She founded the Pacific Counseling and Trauma Center, and now she trains therapists in brain spotting and believes it offers healing, profound healing for trauma. And then personally, I just wanted to know that I first found about Lisa Larson as a very brand new brain spotter who completed her phase 2 training in 2019. And at that point, brain spotting was only face to face. We did it face to face. Very few people were doing it online. So, 3 months later comes the pandemic, and I had never even done telehealth, let alone brain spotting in telehealth. And Lisa very generously gave of her time and her expertise and trained hundreds of brain spotting therapists on how to get brain spotting done online, and she volunteered her time for that. So life changing for me, life changing for my clients. I took Lisa's very first expansion brain spotting training. Yeah, so way back there, and it was just has been life changing for my clients. I also know that her passion for brain spotting training, brain spotting therapists is unparalleled. And I have this favorite quote of Lisa's. I don't remember if it was in the last training we did,
Uh-oh.
but somebody said, Lisa, when are you going to retire? And you're like, never. I'm going to die in this chair.
I did
That's
say
how
that.
that's how much I believe that people deserve to experience the profound healing. So I'm like, me too, Lisa. Me too.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
dying in the chair.
Gonna sit there.
That's
Oh, she's gone.
if only. All
What a way
right.
to
So
go.
without further, Lisa Larson.
All right, thanks, Melanie. Yeah, I was worried what you were going to say. I was like, uh-oh, it could be bad. Well, just in case I say something wrong, they have this little disclaimer. So just know that if I say anything that don't blame RMBI, it's all me. Okay. So if I say something you don't like, I think, we all have to cover our bottoms liability wise. So I'm thrilled to be here. This is a really, really important topic to me. One of the things that, prior to I was very much an activated brain spotter. And I was, from the time I trained in brain spotting with David Grand in 2008, I knew how to do expansion because somebody had done it on me at my phase 1 and 2 in Boulder, Colorado in 2008. But what I found is that activated brain spotting was not working for my clients that had shame. And so I began to utilize expansion brain spotting and have never been able to move so quickly through the worst of the worst shame and insecurity and imposter syndrome and all the lovely things that come along with shame, which is such a toxic emotion. I did want to just say this. I am on the Brain Spotting Help Board, which I'm passionate about because it's the only humanitarian arm of brain spotting. And so honestly, the funding is struggling for brain spotting help. And what happened was, there's just new disasters, both man-made and or human-made and natural disasters. And so we no sooner get through the floods in North Carolina, and there's floods in Poland and Spain, and then we've got Israel and and Palestine, and we've got we're everywhere. So I am doing a expansion brain spotting on profound grief, which is to those who have just unfathomable grief. There's an expansion frame called Bearing the Unbearable. If any of you have an unbearable loss that you are finding it difficult to have your brain and nervous system regulated and body, I would love to demonstrate on somebody who's dealing with an unbearable loss. And I will be doing that. That is April 30th. And that is going to be 11 a.m. Mountain Time. And the minimum donation is $60. And that all goes to providing free brain spotting therapy for people in the disaster areas. So would love to see you there. And it's a really great cause. If you can't come, you can get the recording, but it is phenomenal for grief. So this toxic shame, I forever, I was EMDR trained in 2005 with Francine Shapiro. So forever, I've been, really, really a diehard on having a good treatment plan. And as far back as I can remember, at least till 2005, so the last 20 years, I have been making a list and subjectively having the clients rate their negative cognitions. And, that was a matter of course in EMDR therapy. And I kept it, for my treatment plan going forward with brain spotting. And I never felt like I could really graduate a client if they still had that self-critic beating them up 25 million times a day. And that when people have beliefs like, I'm a mistake, I'm shameful, I'm a bad person, it's all my fault, or I'm unworthy, or I'm not good enough, or I'm inadequate, or I'm not lovable, or I'm permanently damaged, that we really can't graduate them from therapy. And what I found was that I went much further and much faster with expansion brain spotting over activated brain spotting. If I put somebody on a I'm not good enough spot, and one or both of their caregivers program them, and that's something that David floats as a front loading before in the beginning of brain spotting sessions, that you were programmed to believe these things about yourself. And I found that in many cases, even double spotting maybe whatever helps you believe that you are good enough, and the activated, whoever programmed you that you weren't good enough, that sometimes it's necessary to only go to the way out. And so I'm really passionate about this. The other thing that I've discovered, I'm teaching a class called How to Do a Brain Spotting Intensive. How do you squeeze the most healing out of, say, a 10-hour intensive for individuals or a 15-hour intensive for couples? And what I've found in addition is that healing the shame first allows the trauma healing to go a lot faster. So this is a really passionate topic for me. I believe that shame is why people complete suicide. It's such a toxic emotion, and it's just too unbearable to live with. And I also believe that, most of the addicts that have died in their disease, we all know that shame accelerates addiction. So if your client still has unrelenting shame and believes the program that they were indoctrinated with by caregivers with an incapacity to love, we have to heal that before they can graduate. And I'm always about the healing and being able to graduate a client, because there's so many suffering people, but we can't do that unless we heal the toxicity. So a lot of you are probably expansion brain spotting trained, but for those of you who are not, and if you've had phase 1 and phase 2, you have not learned it. You learn it in phase 3, mostly for athletes and performers. Phase 4, expansion expands to, every client you have. But the three types of brain spotting we do is we have pure activation, and then we have the body resource. And the body resource is still going to the traumatic experience, maybe physical abuse or verbal abuse or whatever. And we are still working on the trauma, but we are the activated issue, but we're doing it with reduced activation by using a body resource. Expansion is very different. It is working with pure possibility and growth, but also the solution to the problem, the way out. So a lot of my expansion brain spotting comes out of the activation at looking at the opposite. So, seeking the opposite of the problem or the solution to the problem. So I'll give you an example of a shame-based belief. I'm not lovable. My own mother didn't love me. My question would be, in order to heal, negative cognitions are all part of the shame. Was there anyone who programmed you or showed you with their behavior and how they talked to you and behaved with you that you were absolutely lovable? Yes, my Nana loved me, or my higher power loved me, whatever it is for that person. Or the problem is, it's my fault I was raped. I froze and I let him do it, right? I wonder how you could quit blaming yourself for what your perpetrator did to you. And if they have kids, it's always a good one, especially if there's a daughter. If that happened to me, if that happened to your daughter, whatever I can use, and they froze because their brainstem made a decision that what was most helpful to your survival was to go into a faint freeze response or a dorsal vagal collapse. Would you blame me? Would you blame your daughter? I would never blame my daughter, never, or my niece, or whatever they have. But I blame me. And this is very normal. So I kind of front load that most of us walk around perpetrating ourselves with shame for the perpetration of our sexual abuser, our verbal or our physical abuser. Another example, sorry, I have a click emails. I was with a man who was 80 years old. And this was the night I called David and said, I want to teach expansion. And he said to me, I want you to say to me, I'm going to change his name, you don't matter, Dave. And it took me a minute to be able to do that with a straight face and any kind of authenticity. But that's how he wanted me to trigger the pain of his deep shame. He had 2 narcissistic parents. He was never important, never significant. And oh no, he would have me say, "You don't matter, Dave," different name. So we were spinning in activation and spinning and not mattering and tears and just a lifetime of pain. I thought, well, we're not getting anywhere. And I asked him, when did you absolutely know you mattered? And he had something that wasn't really potent, and that worked for about 3 minutes. And then I said, okay, wait a minute, Dave, when did you absolutely know you mattered? When? And he goes, when I was 50, that's when I got sober. And he was in a Native American lodge. And he said, I went on my vision quest. And do you know? And then he cried. He said, the whole lodge calls me Star Eagle, because what happened is all the stars in the heaven created the shape of an eagle above my head in the stars. And the guide, my vision quest guide, told the lodge, and my name ever since has been Star Eagle, but I don't feel worthy of the name. And I happen to know that the eagle is the highest animal totem in spirituality that there is, in many, if not most, of the tribes. And I said, so wait a minute, you don't think you matter, and all the stars in the heaven go into a shape of an eagle above you when you were 50? And he goes, yeah, that's pretty incredible, huh? And we found an eye position. It happened to be up on the ceiling where the stars were. And his whole life changed in an instant. He hadn't been able to write a book. He hated himself. He couldn't play the guitar. He couldn't sing. He began singing on the spot, and it was so beautiful. I just wept. I just cried. And that was the night I decided I'm going to teach expansion, is that he had such a breakthrough in 80-year-old shame that he had carried, and he was carrying the shame of his perpetrators. So one of the things that's really important is expansion doesn't always work. And this is why I will always go for expansion first. But if I can't get there, I kind of use an accelerated body resource. But it's important not to force the client. And we need to stay in the tail of the comet. So if it's not there for them, if we can make our clients feel like they're not doing it right. If we have an agenda like you must find an expansion spot, of course I always try. But I really read the client in terms of, are they getting frustrated if they can't find it? So the possibility for freedom or the solution has to come from within the client. We have to wait. Why am I talking for the client to find it? We never assume we know what it'll be for the client. Like there's no way in the world I ever would have known from the intake that I did on this 80-year-old that he had that way out inside of him. He needed to come up with that. And we also need to not be attached to, it has to be expansion brain spotting, no attachment to outcomes. I will tell you, I'm pretty assertive in trying for it, but reading the client if it's not there for them and finding another way to go about it. So I just wanted to say that principle is more important than pushing for, the frame that you want. So one of the things that I have been doing in many different ways is what I call truth and lie double spotting. And the lie is the negative cognitions and shame that is programmed by caregivers who are toxic and unhealthy people. And I sort of backload a little bit that the people with the capacity to love are the healthy people. People, hurt people. And so if you've got a Nana who loved you unconditionally, or you've got some friends or mentors who loved you unconditionally, those are the opinions that you want to take to the bank as being the truth about you. But if your caregivers were unable to do that, or even one caregiver, and you are believing this program, and this is how I kind of front load before I even brain spot, that really look at believing the truth of those who consistently supported and loved you versus caregivers who could not, based on their own trauma, based on their own mental health or substance abuse issues. And then somewhere inside of you, there is a higher self that knows the truth about your goodness as a soul. And as David says, we all are born, when we come in as little infants, we are born pure and with a great capacity to love, a great capacity, great worthiness, just because you breathe. And we are born that way, and then we lose it. So we're looking for a corrective attachment experience of some form to be a counterpoint to the activated I position that is the lie. And for some people, it's not another human being. It is an unconditionally loving higher power, perhaps. Or there is a benevolent ancestor, living or dead, it doesn't matter, that was the counterpoint or the opposite program of this shaming. I'm not lovable. I've never been lovable. I deserve only bad things. I'm shameful and bad. I'm afraid that if people really get to know me, they'll learn that I'm as horrible as my mother always said I was. So, what is their way out? And sometimes, I always get this question, so I'll answer it ahead of time. People say, I don't have a higher power because I was abused in a spiritual system, of either a toxic religious environment or cult or whatever. So some people will say there was nobody. All I got was the negative. And just through a lot of prayer, I was coming up with a way to raise money for brain spotting help at the onset of the Ukrainian war. And I was like, I have to offer something to these poor people that are being shelled and bombed 24/7. And as I prayed about what to teach, what came up was soul spotting. And soul spotting, brain spotting help has been selling it forever. If you want to get that, they sell it for $50 and they keep all the funds. I'd rather you buy it from them than from me. But this is a really important frame for being able to connect with one's goodness in the absence of any external forces. So I never know what it's going to be, what's going to be the counterpoint to the belief of I'm lovable, I'm not good enough, I'm shameful, or whatever. So again, I front load, I'm sort of synthesizing the core shame. So we front load the negative programming that people, their caregivers who are incapable of loving them the way they deserve to be loved, instilled this belief. It's almost like a bad computer program that it needs to be upgraded and shifted. And you've got a virus, And so I ask, so my demo today, I just want to make sure Yelena is on from Serbia. You just if you could just confirm that she's here. I asked her via email, what are the negative beliefs that you were programmed to believe? And she gave me a list of those. And, you'll hear me asking her, is there a phrase or a sentence or two that could sort of sum up the programming that you got from both mom and dad, And then, of course, we're looking for the way out. Who loved you unconditionally, taught you the exact opposite of this negative program. And then I'll be backloading. Of course, she's hearing this. Is she on, Yelena? Oh, there you are. I can see you. Good. Good to put a face with all the information. So, okay, so I will be backloading. Of course, she's got the benefit of listening to this, that those who really have loved her, she's got mentors, an aunt, she has a higher power, that these are the people that need to believe over parents due to their own suffering, their own maybe even generational ancestral trauma, don't have the capacity to love. So we kind of get the crux of the shame, and you do not have to brain spot 24 negative cognitions 24 times. You can synthesize it and go after the shame in a session or two. I do very long sessions. I will only have an hour today, but my commitment, Yelena, to you is if you don't really have a transformative breakthrough, I will give you another session after this, because I usually do a 2.5 hour session to heal shame completely. So anybody who volunteers for me, I'm good for making sure we get all the way there. So what is soul spotting? This was, again, an answer to people that would answer the question, who did love you unconditionally? And the answer is nobody, or my dog, right? So soul spotting is designed for the client to connect to their own beauty of their soul. They were born pure, and then they're programmed that they're awful, right? And so soul spotting at its core is a powerful corrective attachment experience with oneself, and can be extremely powerful in healing deep shame. I love David's quote that one beam of sunlight and the darkness ceases to exist. And this is, many of our clients have just been bathed in this. So here is the frame for soul spotting. I'm going to be asked, I've already asked her, so I know this information, but I've already asked Yelena, what do you want said about you at your celebration of life when you pass away? And I want her and everyone I work on with soul spotting to list the core characteristics one at a time. You know, I did this on somebody yesterday. It was like compassionate, a caretaker, you know, service oriented, you know, I'm a healer, I'm, you know, all of these things. So then I read the list back to them with eyes open or closed and ask them where in their body they're feeling the activation of their soul's goodness most strongly. And we ask, you know, expansion spots are 0 to infinity versus 0 to 10. You know, how strongly do you feel the goodness and the worth of your soul when I read this back to you? 0 to infinity. I don't care if they say 500,000, 20, or they do a 0 to 10. It doesn't really matter. But technically, expansion spots they're infinite. And that's why they're so transformative over body resource. That's just less activation, whereas expansion is we're gonna drop that program on its head and, you know, update the software that you've been operating, the operating system of your life. So we find the soul spot. It could be a gaze spot, inside window, outside window, and we're going to utilize that. Now, I don't know what's going to be most potent for Yelena. And sometimes I have 3 expansion spots. I might have an ant spot, mentor spot, and a higher power spot, or a soul spot and a higher power spot. I don't know. I'm going to ask her because she's the expert on her own brain and what she needs to move through this. So I'm going to go ahead and move into this demonstration. And I would just ask everybody that's watching if you wouldn't be willing to send whatever you do, whether it's prayer or Reiki or positive vibes, but to really, really be with Yelena. And, you know, this is a time, an opportunity for her to heal from something that's been bothering her for a lifetime, programmed in early childhood. And so it always makes a difference in a group setting to have everybody really present and attuned. You know, in case we don't have time for Q&A, you know, I guess email us. Maybe you can put our email, Sammy, in the chat, because I'm going to give her the time that she needs, even if you have to go back to work. But I'll try and close it up by 12:30 if I can, and have time for Q&A, but I just don't know if we'll get there. So, all right. So if everybody can turn off your video down on the left side, it looks like a little video recording. And Yelena, you and I will have to go up to view and hide non-video participants. So it's just the 2 of us. And Lillian, if you can turn off your video down on the left side. And do you know how to pin me, Yelena?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm pinning you. Okay, let me reposition so feel like I'm right in front of you. All right.
Play music.
Okay, do you have it on?
Yeah.
Okay, if I drop my voice down quiet, can you still hear me?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So in the in-between time from us talking, you know, I've got a list of sort of how you're programmed, but for the benefit of the group, can you just tell them in a, you know, just a little bit short, who programmed you to have shame, to have self-doubt, insecurities, and maybe the negative beliefs you were programmed with that have been a lifelong challenge to you, and kind of how it came from your caregivers?
Yeah, in the beginning it was from my mom. She was quite physically abusive towards me. I did my work on her, but it still is like it came out in some of the brain spotting sessions that I was ashamed that she was beating me. Also, she was really humiliating me and calling me different kind of words. So there was emotional abuse as well. And then when I started becoming adolescent, a teenager, there was also with the father incest experience, which also gave me a lot of shame. This one I was working also on the beginning with my brain spotting, because I was ashamed that he did that to me.
Mhm.
So I was basically ashamed for both of them. I was hiding that
Yeah.
my parents have so many flaws, and it programmed me in a way that I had a feeling like I'm not good enough and I don't deserve good things.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this came actually, this belief came out during one workshop when my mom tried to do a suicide, because at the end she did she
did
done
complete.
her suicide. Yeah, she
How old
did.
were you when that happened?
That was like 4 years ago, 38 years. I was 30 years old, but she was trying to do it for 11 years. So it was ongoing thing for quite a while, yeah.
And did
And even,
you feel shame about that?
yeah, partially I was trying to stop her whenever I was talking to her, in a sense. It was a little bit also like a blaming, like conditioning her. Do you think how someone will think about us and how I will find somebody in my life if I have a mother who did a suicide?
Yeah. So I
And
wonder,
I was,
it sounds like on some level, maybe not all of you, but on some level, you actually blamed yourself. Am I getting that?
yeah, on some level I do. I feel
Yeah.
like I didn't manage to save her.
Yeah. Like
It's
there's a
like I
chain that you
needed to
put through.
save.
I
y-
couldn't save her. Yeah.
Like my worth is connected to my possibility to save her, but I was not able. Yeah.
So I'm not worthy because I didn't save her. Or put it in your words.
I don't deserve. I don't deserve
I
good
don't deserve good
things.
things. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So if we were to synthesize, mom's
Okay.
verbally abusive, she's physically abusive, dad is sexually abusive. You know, your mom completed suicide, when you were 38 years old, 4 years ago. And so it is the crux of it for you. I'm not good enough and I don't deserve good things. Does that summarize this? Yeah.
Yes.
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 And it sounds like this impacts you, like you said you were afraid, like at work you'd be fired, that somehow they would figure out that you're horrible or something like that. Is that?
Yeah, this start even earlier, but on the work, because I'm a very hard worker, it's like there is some deep thought. This is from some other abuses, but it's like kept telling me you're lying. And it's so opposite of what I actually usually do. But then inside of me, I'm like, what if I'm lying? What if this is revealed that I'm actually a fraud?
Yeah. Yeah. And what I want to say to you is that almost everyone that is abused by their own parents, when we're children, we do not developmentally have the capacity to say it's them. It's too scary. We depend on them for food and shelter. So we always make it about ourselves because the shame is on some therapist part of you. You know, the shame is your mom's verbal abuse. The shame is your mom's physical abuse. The shame is your father's sexual abuse, right? And that mom was mentally ill and you tried, right? But the program remains, right? And so it almost feels like you're looking over your shoulder, like any minute they're going to figure out that you're, that you're
Yeah,
horribly flawed. Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. What's the worst part of it for you? Carrying this all these years for 42 years.
The worst part was actually I couldn't share this. Yeah, I've done in this kind of a sessions that helped me, but in a everyday life, I wasn't able to share.
Yeah.
And then it's like also in my relationships, it's like I kept choosing not from that position that I deserve to be loved, but from the position I need to be abused. It's like I get confused.
Yeah.
I
So
don't know really what's caring and loving, and I choose again. So it's also influencing me how I choose men.
yeah. And they always look wonderful in the beginning, right? And then
Yeah.
all of a sudden we're back at home in adulthood where we're either being verbally, sexually, or physically abused again, right? Right. And we know the research says that those trauma bonds are real, that, this is what we're familiar with. So when we first meet someone, we're attracted to somebody that has both the positive and negative of those who hurt us, right? So it doesn't look like it at first. So
Yeah.
it makes it even more urgent that you believe the truth about yourself. And so let me just ask you, one word at a time, what are the emotions you feel from this lifelong belief of I am not good enough and I do not deserve good things? And one word at a time, what are the strongest emotions you feel as you've carried that for 42 years?
First, there is like some kind of a guilt.
Mhm.
Disgust. Beneath it, there is slight anger.
Mhm.
Um,
Good.
I can just sense, I don't really feel, but I can sense in my hands and legs a little fear
Okay.
also.
Well, sure.
I,
Yeah.
yeah.
Anything else? So guilt, disgust, anger, fear. I suppose the shame. Yeah.
Shame.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And right now, how activated is it, 0 to 10?
It's 9.
Okay. And where in your body are you feeling that most right now?
The most is like in my throat. It's like starting to choking.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there a color you'd like to choose for the lie? This is a lie. We're going to find the way out, but is there a color you would like for the lie? Just give me any color. I have one.
I don't know, black.
I was reaching for the black. Okay. All right. I'm going to move my chair back so I have a little more space. Okay. Your music's on, correct? All right. All right. As you're feeling this in your body and you're feeling the guilt and the shame and the anger and the disgust, how strong is it, 0 to 10 out here in your body? I'm not good enough. I don't deserve good things.
It's 9. Yeah.
Okay. And how about here in the center?
It dropped. It's maybe 4.
Okay. So if it becomes too much, you can come here. Okay. And how about out here?
6.
Okay. Where would you like to process this from? The 10 or the 6?
6.
Okay. Let me pull it in. And if you need to go off screen, am I at your eye level right now?
Yes, you
Okay.
are.
All right. Let's refine it horizontally. And it goes off screen, that's not a problem. You can just go in your own environment if it's further over.
No, it's on the screen.
Okay. So guide me where?
Just a little bit lower. Yeah, that's fine.
Is it a little bit lower?
No, it's that the horizontal line in the beginning.
Right there, like at the top of the picture?
Yeah, on top of the picture. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna put my cursor there. It's right there on the edge. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
And that feels like the right spot to process the lie from.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And 0 to 10, where's that now that we've found the spot? Still a 6? Or?
Yeah, it's 6. It's 6.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so you've heard me talking about the possibilities, right? For you to shatter the lie and have an embodied knowing of the truth of who you are.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to give you whatever intuitively and organically you feel will be the strongest possibility. So one is to find your soul spot. We can find multiple spots as well. The truth of who you are as a soul. You also have a higher power where when things are really falling apart, you get this strength. You also have an aunt and two mentors that really have done nothing but build you up and encourage you and told you the opposite of this, right? So out of these resources, what would be the most powerful antidote to being programmed by unwell, unhealthy caregivers, parents? Intuitively, what is your best bet? And it might be two things that are your best bet. So you be greedy for your healing, and I want to give you as many as you need. Okay. So what's your gut feeling on what will bring you your whole body and spirit and mind and brain to the truth?
Well, for sure, that's a higher power.
Okay. Tell me about your higher power and how you perceive your higher power feels about you and what your higher power would say if you were to tell your higher power, I don't deserve anything good and I'm not good enough. Tell me what your higher power, and do you have a name for your higher power?
No, it's
Okay,
just
just
a
higher
higher
power.
power. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That's great. I just want to be specific. Okay, so what would your higher power say is the truth if you were to come and say, this is what I've believed about my soul, my whole life of 42 years. This is what mom taught me was true of me and dad taught me was true of me. And some of the relationships I've had have confirmed that to me. What would your higher power say is the truth?
Completely opposite.
Can you
You
tell me?
are lovable.
Okay.
You are worthy.
Okay.
You deserve good things. You're beautiful. Yeah. Yeah. You're very kind and caring. And there is a huge strength in you. Yeah.
It's almost
Yeah,
like
you're special.
you're special. Good. Keep going. Keep going. What else are you getting? And do whatever you have to do to feel most connected to your higher power, whether that's open eyes or closed, whatever you need to do. I want you to really feel this deep connection and feel these truths that you're getting.
It's like a light. It's like this connection. I've got actually born because the higher power wanted me to be born.
So I was meant to be here. Yeah. Put it in your
Yeah.
words. I was supposed to be born. I was meant to be here. Put it in your
I
words.
was meant to. Yes, I was meant to be born.
Yeah. Good. All right. Anything else that your higher power wants you to know about this beautiful soul of yours? Because it almost sounds like you're connecting with your higher power and learning the truth of your soul, that you are lovable, you are worthy, you deserve good things, you're beautiful, you're kind, you're caring, you have a tremendous strength, you're special. And there's something about your light.
Yeah, it's like it's some very gentle tremoring or trembling inside, like inside of heart. Is kind of, it's like excitement.
Okay.
Like
And I was meant to be born. You're gazing
yeah.
up there. You're gazing up there.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering how powerful is the activation of this higher power saying you're lovable, you're worthy, you deserve every good thing. You're beautiful, you're kind, caring, you're strong, you're special. There's light tremoring there, and you were meant to be born. How powerful or strong does the truth feel activated on that gaze spot that you are on?
It's like getting stronger. Maybe it's 20, and then as longer as I'm staying, it's like more it's rising.
Perfect. And if you need anything else during the session, let me know. I've got your activated spot, and I'm just going to have you intuitively go where you need to go. And the objective is for you to feel, to believe the truth far more than the lie. So is there anything else, like where you feel the tremoring in your upper chest? Do you feel it anywhere else in your body?
Yeah, it's like I'm feeling my heart.
Good.
It's like, yeah.
Perfect. Perfect. Good. You've spent so many years, 42, in the lie. I just welcome you to spend as much time as possible in the truth.
Yeah, and this excitement is coming from a realization that that is a lie. I'm
Beautiful.
like, wow, this truth is so much better than lie.
Good. And know that this spot is here for you. And the more time you spend on it, the more you will know that this is the truth of who you are.
This is very interesting. It started with actually forgiveness, and for myself and for my parents, and then realization that these are just the wounds and they don't have to be these beliefs that I came with.
Good. Just see where that goes.
And it's like coming that little girl that just wanted to have parents.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's just like it's just that.
Yeah, make sure she's okay too, that she gets connected with your higher power and with you, if that makes sense. Whatever she needs, that she receives the truth as well in the way that means the most to her.
Yeah, the truth is that she's not damaged. She just had these wounds.
That's right.
It's really liberating. It's like there's nothing wrong with me, just something that happened to me.
That's right. Say that again.
Yeah, it's nothing wrong with me.
That's right.
Just happened to me, yeah. And I made it. I made it.
That's a big realization there.
So now the sensation is expanding from the heart to the right side as well.
Beautiful.
It's more in this chest area, but the center. It's like a very, very profound and subtle healing happening all around this area.
Good.
And in the same time, it's coming to my mind. I work with people and traumatized people and children, and I never blame them for anything that happened bad to them. How was I so ruthless to myself? And as this thread is going, it's like the thread is going in a direction more loving myself.
Good. Let that happen. Just keep going with it. What's happening on that spot now?
It's it gives me strength from the front part of myself. Here is like all light and clear, but all the thing is happening in my back, neck, and just below the shoulders. And at the moment started to be light. It's like coming from inside, light.
Yeah. And just notice
Yeah.
if the dark stuff in the back feels like it belongs to you or others.
It's not a dark side. It's more like at one moment I even thought it's like me becoming birthed again. It's like rebuilding. It's like rebuilding very slowly. Yeah.
Good. Let that happen. We have about 10 minutes left, and you can just stay on the spot the whole time.
It just came to me. I don't have to be all the time good in order to be good.
I like that. Say that again and write that down. I don't have to be good all the time.
In order to be good.
Yeah, that's kind of impossible. That's right. Just want to check on the expansiveness. So as you feel this truth from your higher power, all the truths that you've been given, that you're special, that you deserve every good thing, that you're kind, caring, strong, that you were meant to be born, loving. How expansive does it feel in your body?
Yeah, now it expanded all over chest. It's around 100.
Right. And we have about 6 minutes left, 5 minutes left. Do you want to check the activated spot just to see if the lie
Yeah.
is still holding? So if you go back to the lie that I don't deserve anything good, I'm not good enough, just scan your body and see if there's any activation in your body at all.
It's interesting, Lisa. It's like there are a lot of activation, but they changed, and it's like overlapping. The old activation is just a memory,
Mm-hmm.
and this like there is like a new activation coming and saying, "Oh, but this doesn't belong to you."
Good.
Is like
Yeah.
almost like attacking it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
And
very interesting. It's even in the lower body, I can feel lower back.
yeah, and so just organically, you can bring this up to your higher power, bring your higher power down to this, whatever it takes to really strengthen the truth over the lie, the program of the lie. And I can do it with the pointer too if you want me to go back and forth.
Oh, no, I can.
Yeah, you can do it organically, that's fine too.
Yeah. It's like I'm ready. Look at this. Who wants to attack me? I'm ready to fight.
I like it. That's that strong part. Yeah. So let me just ask you, when you're over here, does it feel true? I don't deserve good things. I'm not good enough.
That's all bullshit.
I love it.
Yeah.
Hi.
I even had like a punch like through my heart. Like, my goodness, how could I believe in this?
Well, we tend to believe our parents when we're little, and it's something we carry with us until a bigger truth comes along, you know. It's called being a loyal child, you know. We blame ourselves.
Yeah. Even that is some kind of a purpose for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just parents and humans with their own wounds never healed.
Yeah. So with your eyes back with your higher power, is it okay if I take this down, or is there any activation here at all, or does it feel clear?
There is no activation like we started. This now changed completely.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead, and we've got a couple more minutes, and just bring any of your concerns, you know, moving forward, you know, how you show up at your work, You know, there's been all this fear that you'll be found out in the lie, the concern that you've got this, you know, broken picker with men, that you keep picking men that will abuse. And just take a few moments with your higher power, with this new truth in your body, and just see what you can do in the next couple of minutes with that. And then I'm going to assign you to go hear a lot as homework with your biological sound. Yeah.
Well, I don't have to be impulsive and open myself right away to everything. I can go little by little testing in order not to overwhelm myself. Is like
You can also bring anybody up for review, like right to your higher power spot, and you'll get a good answer. This is like a foolproof, you know, safety check right there. Is this what I deserve or not? And you'll get the answer, I'm pretty sure.
it's like I had pretty much straightforward like thinking about people. Either I trust completely, either I don't trust at all, because there was no in the middle. I couldn't learn it. But now I know that I can be a little bit careful about myself.
Yeah, I think you deserve to be careful with yourself.
Yeah, because even I see goodness in the people all the time, I really don't know what there is.
Yeah.
It was my wish that people were good.
Well, you've got a lot of empathy and caring. And, you know, one of my friends who's very empathetic said, you know, my problem is I have empathy for the sociopaths. You know? But the empathy for yourself is up here too. So you can balance that out. Yeah.
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 And what's good in this spot also is like it feels good to feel good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
It's like there is no
new.
suffer.
This is new. So you want to spend a lot of time on this. You've got 42 years, a 10 on this side, a 6 on this side, and you can't spend enough time up here. I'd like to tell you to 15 minutes a day, meditate on that spot.
Okay.
There'll be a super freeway in your primitive brain that this is the truth. And everything changes on the outside when that is an embodied brain, embodied soul truth. And just to close out, what is the truth of who you are as a soul? What are your characteristics? One word at a time.
Curious, brave, kind, helpful, compassionate, encouraging, leader. Also joyful and happy.
There you go. There's room for that now. Yeah.
It's quite cool, actually.
Yeah. I think you're kind of quite cool.
Thank you. Yeah, I think that for myself now as well.
Yeah, I did. I put down cool. You're a cool chick. Okay. Are you up to taking questions from the group, like to debrief? Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
You moved mountains in 45 minutes, so you did a great job. Go on back, everybody, and we'll get some time for Q&A after all. I didn't know if I'd need 3 expansion spots or 1, and it felt like the 1 was all you needed. Sometimes I've got 3 of them, you know, And one will stop working, and then I need to bring in the ant, or I need to bring in the soul spotting or something like that. So this is why I'm so passionate about expansion brain spotting, is that, she's been carrying the shame of her parents. And what I loved is almost immediately on that spot, she had compassion and forgiveness, because we are in the subcortical brain, which is the seat of spirituality and instinct. And she went to forgiveness almost immediately for her parents, but more importantly, she's not carrying it anymore. There's compassion and forgiveness and the truth about who she is. And once it's embodied, what's in the body is in the brain. And a lot of the time that she was processing, the truth was shifting her body. And that's where you just shut up and give it all the time it needs. And the only homework brain spots I ever give are expansion brain spots. I don't believe in giving clients homework to go on your trauma spot. So we can do the personal or technical debrief. Any comments or questions for Yelena about how that was? I believe that was your first expansion session. Is that correct, Yelena?
No, I did your training expansion.
Okay. Oh, you did. Okay, so you've had it. So
Yeah,
you've had
yeah.
expansion brain spotting before. Okay. I didn't know if you'd done a lot of expansion, but yeah. So any questions, comments, anything you want to ask Yelena about, or me about this? I have a question for you, Yelena. At any time, did some of your other resources come up on that higher power spot, like either your aunt or your mentors, or was it really just you and your higher power, or did that come up as well?
No, it did. It did.
Yeah.
There were even some pictures, memories came. Some it was like connected. It started with a little girl, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 years old, running around on the mountain, and then they were like a traumatic memories, but a realization that there was actually something good in those memories as well. Like, and then coming up that there was a support for me, and aunt came, and it did come. It started like coming from different sides that
it
I
just
had the
didn't feel
support
like
during my growing up as well.
Yeah, it just didn't feel like you were moving heaven and earth on that spot, and it just felt like it was enough, that you didn't need, that everything was there for you. And that, by the way, will always be an expansion spot for you. That doesn't change. Yeah. So if you fall into any false thinking, or somebody treats you badly and it re-triggers any of the shame, you just go right there for the truth with your sound, your bilateral sound. Anybody have any technical questions about how to do it?
Yeah, I have a technical question.
You bet.
Just I noticed, so you were holding the false point all through the session, but Jelena wasn't looking at it at all. Thank you very much, Jelena, as well. It was really beautiful. Forgot to say that, really wonderful. But yeah, so you were holding the false point, but actually Jelena didn't, I think, maybe looked at it twice during the whole session. So what underpins that?
Yeah, so first of all, I had no way of knowing if she wanted to look at it.
Right.
I did have an intuition that she needed the expansion spot a whole lot more than she needed the activated spot. It was easy enough. My arms were anchored. It was very easy for me to hold this all day long here.
Yeah.
So it was not a problem, but I also wanted to check my work, because if there's any activation left, so about 10 minutes before the end of session, I asked what's happening up there, and I brought her back here, because if she's got activation over here, the lie is still in play. And so I only kept it there because I was going to make sure that it worked. And I'm just curious, Yelena, look over to the right where the activation was the strongest. I could do it. I can put this on here. Let's just see if there's anything. It was over on this side that was more like the 10. Is there anything there now?
Yeah, no, it changed.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you know, if I'd had more time, you know, and I assume that. So the potency, this was a transformative. This was not a body resource. This was definitely an infinitely transformative spot. And the reason that, you know, one of the things that I do to kind of accelerate the potency of a body resource for somebody that says they don't have anything is, okay, so what you're feeling, I would read back what they're feeling. And the negative feelings were guilt, disgust, anger, fear, and shame. And I would say, what do you wish you could feel? And what can you think about to help you feel the desired feelings? Like worthy, blah, 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 blah. So that's a way to strengthen and make a body resource more potent. And then you find that in the body. But my intuition was that she's spun in the activation for 42 years, that she needed to be on the truth a whole lot more than the activation. But it's just a way of checking the work. And a lot of clients literally will go there for 10 minutes, here for 10 minutes. I had no way of knowing if she would want to visit that. So it was just easy enough for me to hold it. I also could have said, you know, it's in the corner, upper corner of that picture. But it was very comfortable for me to just hold it. Yeah. So that's why,
yeah, that's great.
That's why I did. And, you know, sometimes the truth is an expansion spot loses its potency at some time. And so then I would have said, what would you need more? You know, like, well, I think I need my aunt who always loved me, or I think I need this. So, you know, it's sort of like, you never know how it's going to go. This was pretty pure expansion brain spotting. And we checked the activated spot just to make sure. But you notice that the expansion comes out of the activation. It's the polar opposite. And intuitively, Yelena, what will be your most potent way out? To believe the truth, that you're kind, caring, compassionate, strong, you know, meant to be born, special, all those things, you know. Yeah. So, and I bet, did you even know what a powerful resource that would be for you, Yelena?
I had good experience with expansion. I had no idea. I really felt good being in expansion. I really didn't want to go to this. For me, it's like, it's just enough of suffering. And it felt really,
I'm over it.
yeah, it felt really good. It kept empowering me, very powerful and very gentle in the same way.
Yeah.
There's nothing overwhelming, nothing too much, nothing. It's just like building slowly, little by little.
Exactly. And it just felt like your body was on. So David always talks about trauma contracts the body. And in order to heal, we have to expand. And sometimes we can expand on an activated spot. But what I felt like I was witnessing was your body expanding and coming out of the, you know, of the trauma, of the physical abuse, sexual abuse, you know, verbal abuse. And it was almost like your body was expanding. So her body was reorienting towards this new truth. And that's the key, is that, you know, there's a part of her that's always known this is the truth, but she needed it to be in her subcortical brain and body, and they're connected. So it had to be done with the access of the eye position, giving you access to the subcortical brain, or she would still stay in the other. I would imagine that your picker will change it, because what happens with this is when you no longer believe the lie, everything changes. How she shows up at work, she starts saying, I can handle that. And she believes it. So everything changes without her having to cognitively think, now be more assertive. Let's not get anybody that's abusive. She already got the message, you know, I'm going to take my time. I'm going to be cautious with myself. And one of the things that I do when a client is downloading pure truth, I try and look at them, but I'm writing that down because I want to be able to send that to her and say, this is kind of what your own soul is saying. Because that was, to me, that was a combination of a higher power spot and her own soul spot. Like she was coming home to the truth about who she is as a soul. And, you know, I did a trauma mama maybe 2-3 months ago with a gentleman, and he had a mom expansion spot. He had an activated dad spot who was very physically abusive and had all these negative cognitions. And then he had a God spot. And there was one other pot, mom, God, oh, and a soul spot. He had all three. And that's what he needed, right? So that's why I wasn't sure how much time I'd have, because it could have been that she needed a soul spot, a higher power spot, and a mentor aunt spot or whatever. But hers, it was almost like that one higher power spot was allowing her access to all positive mirroring that she's received in her life and her own inner knowing of who she really is, you know. But her body was held captive, right? And that connection, I know exactly two people in all the history that I've been a therapist who didn't blame themselves for their parents' behaviors. Only two. One was my father. His dad beat the crap out of him every day, but he had two sisters that were both 10 years older than him. And he had a mom that doted on him. And I remember him saying this, and all of his kids are therapists. And he said, yeah, when he was beating me, I just knew that he had problems. I knew it had nothing to do with me. I'm like, wow. And then I have one girlfriend who knew that both of her parents were crazy. She had 10 out of 10 on the ACE. She's the one who said, I can't date because I have empathy for sociopaths and I keep getting them, you know, because her parents were. But it's much more frequent that we take on the shame of our abusive parents than to not. And so that's an important thing to front load as well. Yeah. So, okay, well, it's time. Thanks so much, all of you, for coming. If you can come to the grief one, our little nonprofit is needing a shot in the arm financially. So, you know, if you can donate the 60 or if you can donate more, it's the only organization bringing Brainspotting free of charge to the LA fires, the, you know, Maui fires. They're everywhere. They're on every disaster, and we're getting many, many more human-made disasters. So, but thanks so much for coming, everybody. Is there any questions in the chat that I didn't answer?
I think Camille's was answered, but Camille, if you don't think so, please let us know and we can go back to it. But there's one of just, do people have multiple expansion spots? And if so, are they always there?
Yeah, so one of the things that I track on my intake paperwork, I have a resource list as part of my intake and treatment plan, is that I put a note where those resource spots are. So like I would make a note that her higher power spot and soul spot is up there. At the end, I kind of circled back just to make sure she had the truth of who her soul was now. It felt like a combination spot. Some people's spots are very different. I did a trauma mama hour and she had a soul spot here and she had a God spot somewhere else and then an activated spot. So there can be multiples and one can lose its potency because something else is needed in that moment. And, you know, I just follow the client. You don't have to be that smart to figure it all out ahead. It's just that when it stops working, what do you think would help you now? What are you feeling now? What do you wish you could feel? What will help you feel that or believe that, you know? So you just kind of follow the yellow brick road. And yeah, I mean, sometimes I have to find multiples. Yeah. We got lucky. She had a twofer. She had a soul spot and a higher power spot, but could have just as easily been separate. Yeah.
Another question is, does a pet spot work for unconditional love?
Even better is bring the pet in. So I had a client that literally had nothing. He had no faith in a higher power. The abuse was so horrific. But he had this lab, this black lab, and I would put the black lab, it was really well trained, put it right where the eye positions were, and the dog's eyes were the eye position. Yeah. So I often, you know, will bring, unless it's a horse, can't get a horse in my office, you know, but yeah, you could even bring in a picture of the horse and we'll put that horse on the expansion spot. You know, I people with horses and dogs that are tremendous, you know. I've got one client that the only being she can truly love is her dog. And she has a 2-year-old daughter that she's starting to be able to love it. The abuse was so severe at such a young age. So yeah, absolutely. Whatever they say, we just go with whatever they say. Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank
Those
you.
are all the questions I see in the chat, but yes, thank you so much for your time, and
Okay. Yeah.
thank you for volunteering, Elena, and processing with all of
Yeah.
us. It
Thank
was
you.
really
She actually
beautiful to watch you both work together.
She actually volunteered for a trauma mama on shame, and so I just circled back and said, hey, can you come tomorrow? Because I'm working on shame tomorrow. So yeah.
Well, that worked out beautifully.
Yeah.
But thank you,
All right.
everyone.
All
Thank
right.
you, everyone, so much
Thank-
for joining us today. We are going to send out the recording probably on Monday, so keep that your eyes out for that. And Lisa, I think anything that we've talked about today, we can add that in the email as well, so folks can follow up with Brainspotting help or your future events or RMBI stuff. So
yeah.
thank you all so much.
Is this summer if you haven't taken it, and it's on our website. So, all right, guys.
Great.
Thanks, and Bree. Really nice to meet you.
Yeah, you as well. Bye,
Thanks a
everyone.
million.
Thank you so much.
Wonderful demo.